Well, hello, lovelies. Come on in. It's Thursday. Or as they say, Thirsty Thursday. Because we get thirsty, don't we? Oh boy. What do I have here? Got some fun stuff for you today. Come on in. Let's talk about it. It is our Thirsty Thursday. We are creating a wonderful day already. I hope you are anyway. Good afternoon. I am having a fabulous day post birthday. Can I just tell you thank you to everyone who wished me a happy birthday, and I may not have even hit all the messages yet, which is what a sweet way to to be. How I feel very loved and cared about, and you guys did it for me. Thank you so much. Last night we had dinner with Marla and Robert. They came over, and gosh, we had a really good time. Marla made this cheesecake. They were coming up, they were coming up the hill, and I could see her just lugging this thing. And I said, "Oh, is that the cheesecake? Let me help you with that." I picked it up. I'm not kidding you. That thing probably weighed 15 pounds. It was the biggest cheesecake I've ever seen. And she did what I always do. Anytime I've ever made a dessert, I always cut the sugar in half. You can't even tell, especially if you don't like things overly sweet. I think that a lot of times in baking, people overly sweeten things, or at least the recipes are like that. So anyway, it was delicious. We had steaks. We had twice baked potatoes. That's one of my favorite things. And for let me just say this, for my birthday, I had one, and they were small. They were just with bacon in it and onions and cheese, just like wow, all the things. Lots of broccoli, beautiful little steaks. And then we had dessert. I was going to make a salad too, and then I said, with dessert coming, where are we going to put everything? And I am happy to report that I left half my dessert on my plate and threw it away. So I get points for that. But I had cheesecake. Mark made the little brownie yesterday. You saw him making that for me for my birthday with whipped cream and strawberries. And listen, that was enough. That was a lot of food. But what I had the best time. We had the best time. And then of course, we played heads up and we laughed. It's so good to be able to have friends over, and it's so good to be able to, be with people that you love. And I feel very, very blessed, very blessed. So thank you again for everyone who wished me a happy birthday. It was a very happy birthday. Thank you. And I'm rocking 62. Here it is. This is 62, y'all. And I'm telling you what, it is going to be the best year yet. Pandemic and all. It is... What you focus on expands. You've heard me say that, right? And you know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on this being my best year yet. And somehow it's going to. Pandemic and all. So there, that's how I live. That's how I roll. Our quote of the week is, "Hope and fear cannot occupy the same space. Invite one to stay." And that's from our friend, of course, Maya Angelou, a wise woman in spades. She was incredible woman, lived a life. You should read her biography sometimes. You can just Wikipedia it or whatever and just read her. She went through some stuff, but she rose above it all. And that is the lesson. That's what we need to be looking about. How do we rise above all of this stuff? And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about a little bit today, because rising above is a choice and a decision that we make. That's what she did. That's why I admire her so much. That's why I put her in my top 5 of overall influential women. She rocks my world. So anyway, Maya Angelou, what an amazing woman you are. Thank you for being in my life. And I believe she hears all of this. I believe that when we go to heaven, that we are also everywhere. That's just my craziness. You can disagree with me if you want, but whatever. Alrighty. We have some products, all of our Wise Women's products. Now, our Wise Women's products are things that Marla and I purposely put together to support the whole idea of body clutter, which is basically decluttering your body from the things that are not serving you anymore, whether it's weight, inflammation, chronic issues, whatever it is that's going on. there are ways that you can deal with this stuff, that you're not stuck where you are. You're never stuck. Isn't that a good thing to know? You are never stuck. And so what we have done is we have created products that help you get unstuck from the stuff that you're dealing with whatever your body clutter looks like. And so we created the Wise Women's Tea, of course. You can see it right here. We also created 4 supplements that I worked with a formulator on, and you can read about them at savingdinner.com/wise, right? These are all of them. You've got a B complex that's methylated, so everybody gets them, has the benefit of it, because otherwise you don't. You get the vitamin D, which, believe me, everybody probably needs vitamin D, unless you've been tested lately and you're fine. Just believe me. CalMag with the proper ratios. That's huge, and you can read all about that, as well as CoQ10, which is for heart function. And listen, women have heart issues. That's the number one health issues that women have. Take a look at that. So I just want you to look at them and just, if you don't buy them from me, you don't buy them from me. That's fine. But these things were created because this is where women typically are deficient. And so we have that. If you want any of these products, if you order these, you get put ships free in the little promo window as you're checking out. We'll give it to you free. We'll give you the shipping free. How do you like that? It's all on us. And if you order $100 worth of stuff and throw this mindful mug into the cart, it's only $5. If you buy $200 worth of stuff, it's free. And I'll send you a little note too. Because I love my ladies, and I want to support you in every single way that I can. These supplements are an excellent way to get that going. We had a lady today who said, I've had them for 2 weeks and I can feel the difference. So, hey, on that. At 4 o'clock, I will be cooking something today. Goodness gracious knows what it will be, but I will be cooking something today at 4 p.m., as I have been known to do. And tomorrow is our Q&A. Are you sending in your questions? If you have a question for me, send it to support@savingdinner.com. And in the subject line, question for Leanne on Friday, it will get into our little form, and then I can support you. I want to support you in what it is that you're looking for. And don't we all have a lot of questions about nutrition? I will tell you, I do, and I'm a nutritionist for over 25 years now. And I will tell you exactly what the thing is with this whole thing. Nutrition is a constantly changing science. It's evolving. So when you think that you've got it and you understand it, one day, next day, a new piece of research comes out and rocks your world. So I'm constantly learning, constantly researching, and constantly trying to find things out for you, myself. So is Perfect Paleo Protein back in stock? Heidi's asking. It should be coming in tomorrow or the next day, I believe. They shipped everything like yesterday or the day before. So yes, everything should be shipping. I'm going to be talking. I didn't get a hold of, we messaged back and forth, but we haven't connected on the phone yet. And I plan on doing that today. It was kind of a busy day yesterday. So I will be on top of that. Don't worry. We will have everything back in the shop just as soon as our supplier can get it to us. So, I think we need to be looking at things from the perspective of a couple of different things. One is, how do we support the vibrant life that we want to live? What do we need to do about that? Are supplements necessary? And I say yes, there are some core supplements that are necessary. That's why we created them. That's why we call them the Core 4. And we also need to be looking at the food that we're eating, the stress that we're allowing in, the kind of sleep that we're getting, and the hydration levels. And are we moving? All of these things add in to get us the quality of life that we're interested in leading, right? It's about quality of life. And you cannot have a quality of life if you're hurting every time you take a step. You cannot have quality of life if you're feeling run down all the time and everything is just wrong. And that's why we're always looking at what can we do to fix these things? How can we create a better level of health? it's incremental. It doesn't happen overnight. And it happens from consistency, and it happens from not giving up. You know, one bottle of supplements isn't going to do it. But a bottle of supplements will support your healthy diet the way it is. It's a supplemental thing. It's not instead of, it's supplemental. And also, it's a consistent thing. It's not just one bottle and done. It's consistently taking them over and over again. I told you I started taking SAMe probably in the early 90s somewhere, and it changed my life. It changed my life, and I will not be without it. I have it every single morning. There are things that I take every single day, and these are all them. They're here, and they're all due to my research and what makes me feel good. So, you know, I'm my own guinea pig. This is how it works. And yes, the Perfect Paleo Protein will be back in stock, and I will have a better idea for you. Believe me, we will be letting you know about it, because more than anything, I just want to be back in normal flow. But as you know, the world is in a pandemic, and everything's kind of been, you know, it's been weird. It's like getting toilet paper, you know. For us, getting our supplements has been like storming the gates to go to Costco and grab it. So anyway, I appreciate your patience though, and I appreciate your loyalty. You know, you guys built this business of mine, and for the last 20 years. And without you, you know, I wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation with you yet right now. So I appreciate you so, so much. And thank you for that. And thank you for your patience, your loyalty, your everything, you know. And I've had a lot of you in my world for, I don't know, 20 years. And you've watched my kids grow up. You've held my hand when I've gone through some things. You know, you're wonderful. I love that. Amy's asking, what is SAMe? It's an enzyme. You can find out about it right on if you go to savingdinner.com and click on supplements. You can click on, there's a little place where it says shop. Click on the supplements and read all about SAMe. But basically, I'll just give you the bottom line. It helps with your joint function, and it also helps with mood and depression. And in the EU, it is a prescription antidepressant. It works better than regular pharma antidepressants. You should read about it. I've done a lot of research on it, and this is one of the reasons why it's in my shop. You don't find it very often, and you also find a lot of cheap crap that is not worth its time. It's very volatile, and that's why it is put into those. Let me see. Do I have no, I don't have a box here, but it's put into the little nitrogen flushed things, you know, foil thingies that you push on, and you have to get out because it has to stay fresh. Just like with our probiotics, same thing. The probiotic and the SAMe, we will always be going to the same manufacturer for, because they produce an excellent product. So there you go. This is what I want you to know about, because I want you to know about these things, because these are empowering. You know, a supplement can be empowering. Eating right can be empowering. Hydrating right can be empowering. You see things happen as a result of your doing. That means, hello, that is like fantastic. Lights me up. This is what makes me happy in my life, is when I see that something that I'm doing that is not from a doctor, not from a pharmaceutical company, not from, you know, some kind of like big thing that I have to do, or surgery or anything like that. I love the fact that I can do things that are going to be empowering for me, that are going to give me a better quality of life. Chris, you'll have to look that up. I'm not aware of any side effects necessarily, but you'll have to look that up. I love to, you know, I love to do research on all that stuff, but look up SAMe plus antidepressants and, you know, plus, you know, all the things, and joint function and all that. I mean, it's just very impressive, all the stuff that's done on that. So today, now that I've gotten through all of that, let me just make sure we still have some time. We do still have some time to talk. Today, I put on the subject line, I said, don't trip over something that's already behind you. And I thought that was so interesting. I saw this somewhere, just some little meme, I think, on Facebook or whatever. And I just thought about that for a little bit because that's how I roll. I start thinking about things and thinking about, like, how does that apply to me? And I think the way that this applies to us is that we have a tendency, we talked a little bit about overthinking this week, didn't we? We talked about overthinking. We talked about how we speak to ourselves and our bodies and maybe even writing an apology to the hateful way that we've been treating and speaking about our own bodies. Sometimes we're not even conscious of that. And I know that's how it has been for me in the past. But we also have things that we've gotten supposedly over. We had a bad relationship and it's over, or we had something happen in our past and it's over. And sometimes it was something that was way beyond our control. Sometimes it was something that was in our control. We have regrets, whatever it was. And the reason that I say don't trip over something that's behind you is because when it's behind, it has already served its purpose to give you an experience and a lesson that you can file for later so that you can learn from it and go on from it. Now, that isn't true for something like, if you have lost a child or something like that. I mean, that would be a horrific thing to say to somebody or lost a spouse or some kind of real tragic loss like that. We can't do that. But we can say this for those incidents in our lives, those things in our lives where it is something that, we regret. We said something terrible, or we did something that we really shouldn't have done, or we have constantly repeated something. And we don't want to be tripping over that and the reason that we are tripping over those things is because we haven't learned from the experience. And the experience is there to give us a lesson if we're willing to look for it. And sometimes it's a dig, sometimes it's a little bit of a dig and say, okay, so what is here for me to learn from? And you've heard me say repeatedly, and I will say it again repeatedly. And the reason I say it repeatedly is because it's the truth. Unplug the emotion from the situation. Because if we don't unplug the emotion, we get wrapped up in the emotion and we can't glean from that situation what the experience is there to teach us. So we can learn from that. We can take from it the lessons, and then we can, put it in the experience folder and store it. And then when something like that comes up again, we have the ability to go back and say, you know what? I've been through this before. I know what this is. This experience is teaching me X. And we move away from it and we go beyond it. And that is true growth. That's how we grow in our minds, bodies, and souls. That's how we stop making those same mistakes over and over and over again. But we can't if we're plugged into the emotion and all we can do is just hand wring over it. All we can do is just talk about it and complain about it and just go endlessly, beat ourselves up about it. At some point, we have to stand back and analyze it. Be like how men are. Men can be very analytical to the point where you want to smack them silly because you're saying, hey, I'm hurting over here and you're wanting to analyze this and fix it. And so men will oftentimes say, well, you don't want my help. You just want to, want. And maybe that's true. Maybe there is some element of want. But we don't want to be Charlie Brown's teacher, do we? What we want to do is we want to pull ourselves back and be able to see what's going on. When we make a determination that we are no longer going to be this person who needs to vent, excuse me, this person who's decided that it's all about how I feel, what they said, and she said, and then I said, and he said, and it just goes into this whole diatribe, and we take ourselves out of that and say, I'm not doing that anymore. Not only is it an emotional soul suck, but it's a time waster. and it's not getting me any closer to where I want to be. And while I think it makes me feel better, after I hang up the phone or, stop texting or whatever, I still feel the same. And that's where we can pull back and say, I'm tripping over something that's behind me. I'm reliving yesterday. I'm stuck in Groundhog Day. And it's the same thing over and over again on repeat. And when you're trying to do something for yourself and for your body and for your well-being and trying to live the vibrant life that you want to live, you recognize that you're doing that because this is a familiar pattern. And that's so often what we do is we live on this pattern, constant patterns of doing the same things. And I'm trying to put a pattern interrupt in here and say, no, this is something that is from our past and we don't need to do it. We always are going to repeat the things that we don't repair. And that is, if we live in this place of just, in the subconscious mind of just, everything is on autopilot and we're not living in the conscious mind and making everything visible, like having, the mindful mug, having a meaningful meal, making sure that we are living in the place of being mindful about what's on our plate and not just shoveling it in and being part of the Clean Plate Club. That's an old experience. That's something that we're tripping over that should be in the past. This is a reminder to put us into the future. This is how we repair the brokenness. This is how we repair that brokenness that we have at the table. And while we can connect a lot of dots, to all of this, will I do it because that's how I was raised? Will I do it because I feel bad about myself? Will I do it because I'm an emotional eater, I'm a this and I'm a that? Let's start identifying with the things we want instead of the things that we repeat. How about that for new? How about that for different? Let's start to identify ourselves into the future text of the things that we want in our lives. I am an optimal eater. I am looking toward my future, which is vibrant and healthy, and I'm playing full out. This is who I am. If we do these things, we get to live that way. And if we get to live that way, it will start to happen. Because that's what we're bringing in. That's our energy level. That is the people that we're attracting in. That just means that our minds are thinking differently. And I'm going to say this too, and you guys know this. This isn't your first rodeo probably with me. I'm sure you've listened to me before. This is how it works. We get locked in to this old mindset, and to lock into a new mindset takes a minute. That's what I call the gap. There's where you are right now today, and there's where you want to be, tomorrow, that big goal. Maybe the size 6 jeans are part of it, but that journey that we take, that bridge that we need to build as we go is just as critical, just as important as it is to getting toward that goal, obtaining that. Because when we do, what we're doing is embracing our lives. We're embracing the experiences, we're embracing the lessons, and we're becoming even better than we were before. It's that simple. We get to learn from it. We get to find out our lessons. We get to accept responsibility finally for who we are. And we get to focus on today instead of focusing always on yesterday or tomorrow. We get to focus on today and be present and be a part of what's going on today with gratitude, with acceptance, with love, with empathy, with all that we are, and being the women that we never knew we could be. And when we think about this, I will ask you this question. I asked myself this question: what do I want to be? Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? Is this creating the life that I want to live? Is this creating the vibrant life that I want to live? Because what you think about expands. And how many times have I said that? But isn't it true? What you think about expands. And if what you think about expands and you're just sitting there hand-wringing over the past, you can't get past it. You can't get to the place of that experience has taught me this lesson. Because that's the way it is. That's why it keeps coming back. It's like a boomerang. It'll keep coming back. So we have to ask ourselves those questions. We have to ask, is this helping me lead a vibrant life? If not, then what am I doing here? What's going on here? And not in the place of hand-wringing, not in the place of putting yourself down and doing the whole, slap yourself upside the face, but in the place that you can unplug from the emotion and look at the experience for what it is, and from there, draw the lesson. It sounds simple because it is, but it's not easy. It takes a little work. And I always suggest that you do it on paper. The reason why is that we can play mind tricks with ourselves. And it can be here and be a little bit of an idea one day and then the next day gone, because we go back to what it is that we know. It's the Oregon Trail in our head. Those are those neurons that are firing and are wired shut, right? But if we decide we want to build a new one, then we're going to have to work on that pathway. You've got to get the machete out and knock down all the stuff that's in the way. And then once those are down, then you got to pull them out by the weeds, and you just have to keep going. It's worth it. You're worth it. This is your life. And you get to do this. Sometimes you have to forgive yourself. We talked about that yesterday. We talked about, writing yourself a letter. Sometimes you have to forgive others. Whatever it is that's taking up that space in your head, what needs to happen in order to move ahead? Ask yourself those questions. Write it out. Your journal is your best friend. Your journal's not going to judge you. Your journal's going to help you get it out. And then when you go back and you read it, you're going to find some nuggets. And those nuggets are going to be pavement for that bridge that you're building that connects you from where you are today, your gap, and where you want to go. Because that journey is precious. That journey is precious, and you need those nuggets. You need those nuggets to build that road. So, we all get stuck in these places. But the point is, you don't have to stay stuck. And you have to remember, you are not a tree. You can move about. You can move from where you are over to where you want to go. And you can just determine that this is what it's going to be. And there are all sorts of tools. Your journal's one of the best things. A good body clutter buddy, not somebody who's just going to whine with you, but somebody who's going to call you on your stuff. Someone who's going to say, let's go together. Let's make this better. We have the ability to do this, as women, wise women who are on a journey for the best possible, most vibrant life that we could possibly live. That is for us to do. That is definitely on the to-do list. That is on the daily to-do list. That's part of our soul's growth. It's part of our life's work. And I'm going to tell you right now, one day later, at 62, I'm going to say this. Right now, at this point in my life, I am going to be living my very best life. I am making that declaration. No more excuses. No more hiding. No more pretending. None of the stuff. Instead, going forward. Instead, seeing my future. Instead, embracing today, and living it with everything that I have, and loving with every ounce that I've got. That's it. And if I do that, the rest of my life is going to be the most beautiful version it can possibly be. And so I invite you to go on that journey with me. Are you willing? Are you willing to put down the old stuff? Are you willing to let go of the stuff that you were tripping over from yesterday? Are you willing to let go of that? Are you willing to stop repeating all of the stuff that you've been repeating and start repairing it instead? You can still hide if you want, Lucy, but you can also say no to that. And I'm going to put a challenge out for every one of you. Every one of you that has a little avatar that doesn't have your face on it. Change it. Stop putting your pets out there, pictures of flowers. Put your picture of you. Start showing up. Show up with who you are in all your glory, in all your flawed glory, and just be yourself. That's important. Who you are is important. So show up. Peace. Love you guys. And don't forget, if you want any of our Wise Women stuff, put it all in your cart, write ships free in the promo code, and shipping is on us as long as you live in the United States. I love you guys and appreciate you all. Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye.